Howdy friends, and welcome to another Diablo 2 video. This time I want to talk about some changes that I think would be good for Diablo 2. So let me preface this by saying, what kind of started this whole video and why I ended up making it. We all saw the post, okay? The 25th anniversary, the 25 years have passed since our first foray into the burning hells. Basically alluding to, okay, there might be some updates coming. It basically just got everybody thinking, here are some things that you should keep in mind with this post. You shouldn't get your hopes up. Don't expect anything too wild if they do actually publish anything. So Terrorized Zones, Sunder Charms, they were a huge ad, but that isn't, I don't think it would be the scope of something like that going forward. Don't quit your job to start farming for some crazy Diablo 2 resurgence if they get some more of these updates or whatever. And don't lurk on the internet for clues. There was a famous interview with the original creator of Diablo 2 that I think, so they posted this and then they had that interview, and I think people just started kind of spiraling a little bit, including myself. But in the off chance that there are some changes, here are a couple things. It's actually 10 things that I think would be an awesome add to Diablo 2, and I'm curious to see what you guys have to say. So starting off with number one, what I think would be huge, which is a lot of people play this game style. So making solo self-fund an official style for online. So I'm thinking about like Path of Exile. You can actually click and say, hey, I want this to be a solo self-fund character. And it really just, wouldn't let you trade. You couldn't pick up any sort of shared loot. I think this is a style of gameplay that a lot of people like, but making it more official would just be, I think, beneficial to the community. I personally love playing solo self-fund. You get a lot of cool series like Grails and stuff like that. But making it official, I think it would just make that more kind of accepted. And it would just be nice recognition because it's kind of what a lot of people already play in the game. Next, I think there should be some sort of official trading system or currency that is implemented in the game. So no, you wouldn't have this player-to-player trading outside of this system to avoid things like, I look at D2JSP where you can kind of buy forum gold. There's other sites that I'm sure you can do something similar. But it's a common theme. I think I had it here. But, at the beginning of the ladder, you would get people that had this gold, whatever, the forum gold, these credits kind of banked, and they would just blow it all in the ladder start, and then 2 days in, you'd have someone with full endgame gear. So if they could do something where at the ladder reset, it would be you'd have 0 of this currency, just to kind of even the playing field. I think that would be really nice, and I think it would also, force people to kind of use these official channels. I think that's just more for me because I like the idea of D2JSP, but I hate real world money. And it's technically not legal per game standards. I hate real world money trading, like outside of the game trading. And, you just open yourself up to all sorts of funkiness with that. Next, we need something other than Enigma to offer teleport for this game. So if you don't pick a sorceress as your starter, you're going to be way behind as opposed to people that have picked something. If you picked, if you wanted to do, I almost said a paladin, but that's also a super common one. So like right now, I have a Javazon for my starter. I know I am already leagues behind people that picked a sorceress. Just because you unlock teleport, you can kind of zoom through the game. But I have a couple ideas for that I think would be cool. While I didn't have it, shout out to Act Merc. Someone left a comment on one of my other videos suggesting this. Character sets granting +1 to teleport. So if you had like the Immortal King set or Natalia's set, I think that would be a really, really cool way to give people that option of teleporting. I also like that idea because Immortal Kings, that's not going to be the end game gear. It's kind of this trade-off of like, hey, do you want to be really tanky or do you want to move around? Which I just think that would be really, really cool. Of course you have, mods like Project Diablo 2 that have addressed this system. I just think it would be really nice to have another, even if it was just another rune word, another item, maybe it was like a crazy rare charm or something that would give your account teleport. I just really think not having it is such a huge, it really stinks to not have it. Obviously, there are things like the teleport staff that greatly help with this, but, it would just be really nice to not have to farm Enigma, start out with a sorceress, this kind of rinse and repeat cycle of ladders that we have been seeing. Up next would be the online players X command. So if you play solo, or I guess not even solo, if you play offline, you can do the players X to simulate up to 7 players in the game. I really like that. I think a lot of people, this is one that I see all the time whenever there's discussion on like the subreddit or any other videos or something like that. This players X command to be able to scale difficulty if you just want to play by yourself, I think would be an enormous add to the game, and I think would bring back a lot of people. Or you could replace with more difficulty settings, or I just put difficult, but difficulty settings. So you would have normal, nightmare, hell, torment 1, torment 2, similar to kind of like a mix between Diablo 3 and Diablo 4. I think people would respond fairly well to it. It would also give people kind of this goalpost of, if they added up to, let's say, torment 10, being able to do certain things at a torment 10. Again, this is talking about if they did a system identical to Diablo 3, being able to do Ubers on a torment 10 would be a really, really cool thing that people could gear their character to. Number 5 is make things stackable. So gems, keys, runes, essence. This is basically, I'm stealing this from Project Diablo 2. I have started playing that mod. This is one thing that I think is huge for the game. You have the stash tabs, or the currency stash tab in Path of Exile, Project Diablo 2, but you can also stack things. So the limited number of slots that you have isn't going to be just like, you have 3 tabs of perfect gems or runes or something like that. You can just have things nice and tidy. That way you wouldn't need more inventory spaces. I think that would solve kind of 2 problems at once. Next would be a system for buying runes through some sort of material. I know this sounds scary, but this is not real world trading. I think I had the idea of like a rune fragment or something where you could, let's say you found a pull rune, which in a lot of these trading sites or a lot of these trading games, things that people create, a pull rune would equal like, I don't know, for the sake of the argument, 10 rune fragments. And there was a system where you could basically in the game with, I don't know, let's say 10,000 rune fragments, you could buy a jaw rune. It's just so it's something that you can kind of work towards over time. Obviously, I know you can cube your runes up, but I think this would be something that, if you don't want to keep these runes, you don't want to get rid of them, whatever, it would just be really nice to have just like a little extra thing in there to be able to support, farming these high runes along the way. Like I said here, without doing 5,000K lower QRS runs for high runes. I think this is something that a lot of people fall into of like, I really don't want to do this. I think that's where, tying this back to the second bullet point, I think this is where a lot of sites like D2JSP get a lot of traffic because it's like, hey, you don't need to farm this. You can just buy it or trade for it across several seasons or ladders. Whoop. Up next, new rune words. Mosaic was really fun. This isn't a priority. I think out of all of these, I should have put this at number 10. These weren't in any specific order. New rune words is just more things to play in the game. Simple as that. You could remove some rune words. You could add to existing ones. Basically, I'm just asking for more content in this one. 8 new gear slots for mercenary, so boots, gloves, and belts. That's 3 that you can normally put on yourself, but I think would be really cool to see, like, some sort of, if you had like Draculs for like life tap on a mercenary. I just think that would be kind of neat, especially if you pair this with some of these other things, like, the scaling difficulty. I think if you kind of add these all together, you really start to form these systems that would allow people to really, really push their characters and see how far they can go. 9, loot filter. I put this at number 9. Again, this is kind of, I would say out of all of these, this is probably my least wanted one. Like if they were like, we'll give you 9 out of the 10, I would probably take loot filter off, only because you can still get the drops. It's just, you might miss something here or there, but for me, it's not really a big deal, but I know that's kind of a controversial thing. And I might be getting a lot of hate down below in the comments for that, but that is a risk I am willing to take. And next, mod support. So I think this is something that we saw in Path of Exile that I really enjoyed. If someone makes a third-party plugin, or look at it, another game that I play a lot is Old School RuneScape. Basically, if someone wants to write a Holy Grail tracker, and you could just import it into your game and it wouldn't mess with anything, I think it would form this really, really cool community of people that make fun plugins that people would just really enjoy. Effect timers, so like, I don't know if that's effect or affect. I don't know. But, how long will I be frozen for? How long will something last? When will my, what am I saying? Like life tap expire, certain things like that. I think that would be really, really cool to see come into the game. So that's all I had for this video. These were just these 10 ideas. So let me know what you guys think. I realized this was kind of just a stream of consciousness, but I've been talking with friends who also play Diablo and, interacting with people in the community. And I've kind of agreed on this is my 10 lists of demands that I would really, really, really like to see come to this game. And I know the argument is, oh, why don't you just go play one of the mods? Why don't you just go play Diablo 4 or Path of Exile or something like that? The fact of the matter is, I just really love Diablo 2, and it would be cool to see them work on a game that a lot of us know and love. So let me know down below if you agree with any of these, if you disagree with any of these. If you had to pick one of these out of this list, what one would it be? I'm curious to see, given a list of things. I personally have no idea what I would do. It would probably have to be the online players whatever command. I think that would be fun. Or the system for buying runes, just so you can, just so to make everybody's life a little bit easier. But let me know what you think. If you enjoyed this video, let me know down below. Give it a like if you're really liking it. And if you really want to see more of my face and hear more of my opinions about this game, if consider subscribing. I'm trying to hit the 500 subscriber mark, and I'm in the mid 300s right now, which is really awesome. I've really had a lot of fun making videos and interacting with people kind of along the way. So I'm going to leave this one there, and thanks for stopping by. I will see you guys on the next one.